the measurement of air quality that you've done, I guess specifically CO2 levels. Do you want to just take that and explain what it is that you documented?
This was something I had no idea about when I was writing the book, and it's something I got clued into about 3.5 years ago. And so it's the concept that we acknowledge that CO2 is going up in the atmosphere, right? You can look at any graph, you can go out and measure it right now. It's 424 parts per million. But a lot of us aren't considering what the air quality, specifically the amount of CO2, is in indoor environments. We spend 90% of our time indoors, and we're not looking at the air quality. So I had heard from a researcher, he said, you're the breath guy, you should be checking this out. I said, well, what do I do? He said, why don't you get a carbon dioxide monitor and take it around with you and just look at the air quality? And so initially I was just like, well, who cares? Who cares if there's more CO2 or not? Until I found all of these studies, and there's about 30 to 40 years of studies, and they're done by governments around the world. So again, this is not sketchy stuff by some dude in a garage in Taos or something. No disrespect, love that place. But this is real science, real data that anyone has access to. And what it turns out is when you get to about triple the rate of CO2 in an indoor environment, so starting at around 1,500 parts per million, again, outdoors, it's around 425 parts per million, you start to find that in schools, certain cognitive test scores can go down about 50%, 50%, by tripling the amount of CO2. And then you get up to 2,500 parts per million, you're looking at headaches, chronic migraines, further decrease of test score. And then it goes up from there all the way into like serious cognitive disabilities up into 5,000 parts per million. That's what you're looking at. That's the chart. I've been carrying this thing around with me for about 3.5 years, and I've been absolutely aghast by what I've found. I travel a lot. I travel around 100 days a year. And, the average CO2 when you were entering onto an airplane and suddenly everyone just starts falling asleep, they're not tired. It's because the CO2 levels are around 2,500 parts per million. 2,500 parts per million. So if you wonder why you feel like crap after a 4-hour flight, I think it has a lot to do with the very low amount of oxygen and the very high amount of CO2. And there have been all of these recommendations from engineering associations saying it should never be over 1,000 parts per million. That's when it's going to start to feel stuffy. I have not recorded one flight anywhere on planet Earth where it hasn't been over 1,000 parts per million. Every single flight is.
I'm sitting in a hotel right now, and I'm not sure. I think they're trying to prevent suicide, so I may not be able to open any windows. But are there any approaches that you can embrace to address this if you travel a lot? What can you do?
I could tell you what I've done. I will tell you a little information about hotels. So I carry this thing around and I record every hotel I go into. And some are pretty good and some are extremely bad. And if you've noticed, and I'm sure you have, I just know you have, in the past 10 years, something very curious has happened. In every hotel, you used to be able to open the window, maybe not all the way, because they don't want to get sued if you commit suicide, but at least this much, 6 inches, 7 inches, right? Almost every hotel had that. Now they're all glued up. And they are glued up because heating and cooling accounts for like 50% of the cost of maintenance.
LEED Platinum. Good news. We are LEED Platinum. Bad news. Your brain is dying when you stay here.
Yeah. So what they do, instead of pumping in fresh air and heating it and cooling it, which would cost them money, they recirculate the air from all the rooms. And you know this because you're recording the CO2 levels. And what I've found is in the hotels that have the big plaques outside that say LEED certified, green certified, that are the most expensive, have by far the worst quality air. I've recorded 2,800 parts per million waking up in one of these hotels.
Wow. I was joking, but I nailed it.
Yeah, I know
Wow.
this is just a bummer parade coming from me, but this is something because once you see this and carry these things around, you're like, I am so screwed because I'm stuck in here and I can't open a window and it starts to make you crazy. So my solution for that is you have yourself or your assistant call ahead and ask a hotel, do you have windows? Well, sir, of course we have windows. Can you open those windows just a little bit, just a little bit? And those are the hotels you stay at.
Wow. What CO2 monitor do you use, or what's a good option for folks if they want to embrace? I'm just thinking of how many people, we were talking about Venn diagrams earlier. I mean, my like psyche Venn diagram, there's like a OCD and hypochondria, and just
I
pushing
know,
those
dude.
over. And then in the bullseye is CO2 levels in hotels.
And listen, I know those hypochondriacs that everywhere you go, they're assessing everything. Some of them are my lovely friends. I love them, but they drive me freaking crazy. I never want to be that, but this is a real
This is a real thing.
and it's something that you should pay attention to. So I bought about 10 different CO2 monitors and assessed them against a professional device. And most of the crap you see on Amazon is worthless. Don't bother with it. There is one brand, again, I get no money. I wish I did. Maybe I should endorse these products. It's called an Aranet 4. Aranet 4. ARANET 4. That's the best one. You know what? I probably even have it in my pack right now. I could show you. But it's the most accurate one. And the battery life lasts forever. It lasts about 3 to 4 months. And once you start doing it, it's hard to stop. And I got so fired up about this that we're working on it right now, creating a database. I'm trying to arm about 100 people with these things. And then everything will automatically upload to this database. So you could see what hotels have good air quality, what restaurants have good air quality. Because governments, let me tell you, governments are going to do nothing about this. It's when companies start getting outed for recirculating all of this breath backwash from all of these people in the hotel that they're going to start paying attention.
Wow. How safe is it to assume that if you're in a major city like LA, Chicago, New York, that you're getting better quality air if you open the window in the hotel? Is that pretty much always a safe assumption? Or like, where do you get to a point where you're like, I'm better drinking in this backwash in the hotel than opening the windows?
That's a really, really good point. Maybe Shanghai in summer, maybe Mumbai in spring. I have not assessed that. I think that's a good point. If you're in a hotel that's very high up, right, and the CO2 level is just absolutely pedal to the metal, 3,000 parts per million, my assumption would be that opening that window, there's more benefits than harm from that.
Yeah.
Again, I think there's a lot of variables, but the CO2, if you're talking immediate, acute harm versus chronic harm, the acute harm from CO2, your ability to rebound after a long flight, not feel hungover, not feel jet lag, not feel drowsy, I think that's a big one.